What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with Dilly Vanilli. We are here to break down the boys, the Dallas Cowboys 2019 NFL season. We are going to preview and predict the Cowboys and their 2019 season. Dilly Vanilli, as the resident Cowboys fan, I will let you lead off. This is a team that made the playoffs last season. This is a team that has high expectations within the NFC East. Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, Zeke Elliott, a defense that's one of the better ones in the NFL. What do you see from the Dallas Cowboys in 2019?
Well, Mitch, I expect big things. Of course, I'm wearing the Cowboys hat here for this video because I'm excited to talk about my team here. A lot of expectations, as you mentioned, a really talented roster, a really heavy 1-2 punch between the Cowboys and the Eagles to see who's going to win that division. And I have the Cowboys at 12-4. But unfortunately, that's only going to get them the 5th seed in the wild card because I had the Cowboys at a 4-2 divisional record and the Eagles at a 5-1 divisional record. So I have to admit that. But this is still a very competitive battle, and I think they could easily win this division. So let's go through the roster real quick, how I feel about this team, of course. We got the receivers. Amari Cooper stepped up, as I'm wearing his shirt today. He stepped up in a big role the second half of the season and made the offense 8 times better than what it was in the first half of 2018. It was awful, to say the least. It was 1-5. We started off the season 1-5, couldn't figure things out. Finally got Amari Cooper, finished the season 10-6. A great role there. The question is, who's going to step up in that second receiver role? My pick is Michael Gallup, the second-year guy from Colorado State. Really looking forward to seeing what he does in year 2 because it looked like him and Dak were getting on the same page the last couple games of the year. I think that could be even better in 2019. We also have Randall Cobb coming into the team, which I'm a big fan of Randall Cobb. I don't know what he's going to do here. He's 30 years old. He's not the same player he was in Green Bay, but if he steps up, that's great. A couple of other guys, Tavon Austin. He was hurt second half of the year. Let's see if he does anything. Offensive line is still consistently one of, if not the best in the NFL. I'm going to go with number 2, number 3 ranking here. Tyron Smith's one of the best left tackles in the game. The biggest question mark for me is Connor Williams. We drafted Connor McGovern in the 3rd round this year to be like, hey, you didn't do all that great last year. Let's see if we can, beef it up because the rest of this offensive line is stacked. With Travis Frederick coming back, that's a great addition. And Zach Martin, consistently one of the best right guards in the league. Let's just not talk about the tight end situation because I don't want to talk about Jason Witten in 2019. He's not that good anymore. All he's going to provide is some kind of veteran leadership. And, let's hope somebody steps up because the Cowboys tight ends had less receptions and less yards and less touchdowns than Jason Witten had in 2017. All of them combined in 2018 had less than Jason Witten. So that's disappointing. Dak Prescott, consistently one of the most hated quarterbacks in the NFL, has the 2nd most wins in the NFL since 2016, so suck it. He is a very good quarterback in this league. He's stepping up his game. I think he gets disrespected, but you saw in the second half of the year with a guy like Amari Cooper stepped up in the big role, and I think this year is another big year for him. He's going to be able to get that contract. He has to step up in big moments in order for him to deserve that kind of contract. And, of course, Zeke Elliott. All the rage right now is he going to report to training camp, all the stuff as we're filming. Hopefully he does. If he does, he makes this offense a lot better. If he doesn't, it's kind of a huge blow, but I'm not going to speculate anything about that. When he's on this team, I think he is the 2nd best running back in the game right now. Defensively, this is a stat lineup top to bottom. DeMarcus Lawrence stepped up his game in 2018. He proved that he deserved that contract. Really love seeing him on this team. A lot of underrated guys, guys that a lot of people haven't heard of. Malik Collins, Antoine Woods, Tyrone Crawford, all solid pieces on the defensive line. And you add Robert Quinn into this fold in 2019. Not the same player that we used to see a couple years ago. If they get that kind of player, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm not expecting that, but that would be absolutely insane. And I'm looking for Taco Charlton to step up because he was the 1st-round pick in 2017, and he hasn't done a whole lot. So I know it's a lot of people in that defensive line, but he has to make a bigger role in 2019. The linebacker crew is to me the best in the game. Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch are the best 1-2 duo in the entire NFL when it comes to linebackers. Jalen Smith stepped up. We were asking questions about his injury in 2017, and last year he was one of the best, including his red zone defense. And Leighton Van Der Esch, absolutely crazy. The 2nd most tackles last year. Great season. Secondary, I think, is underrated. Byron Jones stepped up in 2018. Again, who decided to put him at safety? I don't know why, because he's such a much better cornerback than he is a safety. He played very well, a top 10 cornerback, maybe in a top 5 cornerback. Xavier Woods is good. Mitch, my least favorite player on this team is Jeff Heath. He is still on this team. He is still a starter. I do not like that, but if there's one hole, whatever. Chidobe Awuzie, I thought was going to step up in 2018. He had a fine season, but not as good as Byron Jones. Hopefully he can step up. And Anthony Brown, I think, is underrated as well. Overall, and I also forgot to talk about Jordan Lewis, who's also very good. So overall, this team is stacked. There's not really a big hole. If you want to say there's a hole, I think it's some of their secondary isn't as good as other pieces of secondary. But this is a very talented, and also tight end. But this team is very talented. They've got a lot of things going for them. I know a lot of people don't like the Cowboys and the stigma around them. But when you look at a talent-wise on this roster, it's one of, if not the best talented team in the league. I put them at number 2. Mitch did as well. So the thing about this team is they have to meet expectations, and it's all about the coaching. Because I've said it before, they've had great teams, but when Scott Linehan's calling plays, and the clapper over there, Jason Garrett, making terrible decisions for this team. That's why this team has been in such a funky mess of an organization the last couple of years. Even if they've had really good seasons, they haven't been able to capitalize because of the coaching. So I'm going 12-4. Could easily win this division. I have them in the wild card because of the divisional record that I talked about. But it's all about, to me, the games between the Eagles. If you win both games, if either team wins both games, I think they're winning this division. So very, very excited about this team, and I'm going 12-4 here.
The Dallas Cowboys in 2019, the thing that's always interesting about the Cowboys is, on one hand, the media usually hypes them up a lot, especially if there's Cowboy former players involved in the hype machine of the media. And we saw that a lot in the Tony Romo years, where this team was basically picked to go to the Super Bowl every season of Tony Romo's career, and it never really happened. Now we don't get that as much, but we do usually get it from Cowboys fans. But this is one of the seasons in 2019 where I'm actually agreeing with the Cowboys fans more so than the Cowboys haters, where it's like, yeah, you're hyping your team up, but they should be hyped up because they're a good team. And I've predicted the Cowboys at times to not do so well. And I feel like I've been pretty fair on where I've predicted the Cowboys to kind of what their outlook's going to be over the past couple of seasons. This season, I have them at 11-5, but just like Dylan, I have them second in their division because I am also a big fan of the Eagles roster. But to me, when I look at this division in particular, this is the easiest division in the NFC to me, in terms of there is clear-cut 2 teams that I believe are way ahead of the other 2 teams. And it's basically a 2-team battle for the division crown. And probably both of these 2 teams are going to make the playoffs. Then you look at it as, I could see those 2 teams being the 2 best teams in the entire conference, not just the division. So it's a very intriguing head-to-head with the Eagles and the Cowboys, and could provide for 2 of the best games of the season. When you look at the Cowboys, why do I believe in the Cowboys as an outside perspective, not a Cowboys fan like Dylan? Well, I do believe that their offensive line will be the best it's been in a few seasons, at least since 2016, where they were, of course, explosive in that the running game, Ezekiel Elliott protecting Dak Prescott. Just having Travis Frederick back and healthy is going to be a huge addition. I'm hopeful that Tyron Smith can be a little bit healthier over the course of his schedule, where he's been missing a lot of games, but hopefully he can be a little bit more consistent on the football field. And then you look at Connor Williams, who was a rookie last year. You would expect a little bit of a jump into this season. I felt like he was one of their weaknesses of their team last year and really put Dak under a lot of pressure. I actually felt like the Cowboys' offensive line last year was probably the worst it's been in a few seasons. So this year, I'm hopeful that it's back to that 2016 form, which will just elevate this offense to the next level. You also look at the, in my opinion, improvement. I know he's never actually done this before, but Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator. I do think will bring some creative things to this offense. I don't think this offense will be as run heavy as it has in the past. I actually believe with Kellen Moore, they might pass the ball more. And instead of running the ball so predictably on first and second down and just giving it to Zeke and letting him go, I do think that we'll see more screens and more short passes to guys that are good in space like Zeke. Maybe instead of a run on first down, we might see a swing pass to Zeke on first down or a screen to Zeke, just different ways of getting him the football in that regard. I think Kellen Moore will be good for this team and for Dak Prescott and his statistical jump. I think he'll have a better season from a statistical standpoint. You look at the receivers, I love Amari Cooper and what he's become as a Cowboy. He just needs to continue that, and he's kind of opened up this entire offense. Besides him, I do question who's going to be that number 2. Is it going to be Michael Gallup? He kind of was a one-trick pony in 2018 in terms of he was a down-the-field threat, but not much else. What can he become within this offense in his second season? Randall Cobb's a big question mark. How healthy is he? How much does he have left? Is he better or worse than Cole Beasley? What are we going to get? Because that's pretty much the role he's going to play in the slot. And then you look at Jason Witten. I don't know what he's going to bring. To me, he looks like he's running in quicksand. He's not going to get you many yards after the catch. Maybe he brings you a red zone presence or possibly a third down short yardage guy where you just plop him over the middle and he's a nice safety blanket for Dak. Blake Jarwin had some decent moments last year. Maybe he kind of elevates his game as a receiver, but I think where Witten's presence will be the most is not just in leadership, which Dylan brought up, but also in run blocking, which I think they missed last season. Then you look at the defense, and I've ranked it as a top 5 defense going into the season. DeMarcus Lawrence is a beast. Dylan brought up the underrated aspects of their defensive line. Robert Quinn is an intriguing piece to this defensive line. Of course, Jalen Smith, Leighton Vander Esch, and Sean Lee, who is still there. Byron Jones, can he really become that all-pro kind of consistent corner, or is he just kind of a one-year sort of guy? We need to see that happen in season 2. And then you have Jeff Heath, who I think he's better than Dylan thinks he is, but, you know, it is what it is. And the other corners I like. I don't think they're one of the top 3 secondary or top 10. Maybe they're a top 10 secondary, but they're kind of on the borderline of that. But their front 7 allows them to play better in the back end. And I like their defensive staff and Marinelli and Richard as well. So good coaching from the defensive perspective. Hopefully Kellen Moore can elevate it and keep it on the same level as the defense. Jason Garrett has been an okay coach, but the big question about Jason Garrett teams is, can he have consistency season to season? We've seen them make the playoffs and drop off and just miss it at 8-8 or 9-7 or something like that. Can they go from playoffs to playoffs and taking that next step? They went to the divisional round last year. Can they get to the NFC Championship or the Super Bowl this year? We'll have to see what Jason Garrett has in store for this team. They certainly have the talent, and they certainly have intrigue to me, and I think they're going to be one of the main guys competing and teams competing for the NFC Championship, and I have them at 11-5. So Cowboys, a lot of expectations, Dilly. Anything to add when we're kind of wrapping up what we see for the Cowboys in 2019?
I do like you brought up Chris Richard. He was a big influence in 2018. I think he's going to help even more in 2019 because there was a lot of rumors that he might be going elsewhere to be a coach. He's still here. That's a great aspect of the team. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Every year I get stressed out about this team, but I feel like the talent is here, and maybe some expectations can rise up in 2019.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us here on our Dallas Cowboys preview for 2019. If you enjoyed, spike the like button and subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more NFL videos just like this. It's Mitch and Dilly Vanilli. Peace out.
Peace.